Hello. I My last video was a flop. Embarrassing, embarrassing. And what I'm going to talk about is kind of going off more on that video because I was really thinking, and I've just been thinking these last couple of days, and it's a little crazy of how much I've been thinking. I'm finally wearing a different shirt only because I changed it right now. Authentically, I still would have been wearing that pink tank top. Toby is asleep. He's moving. He's alive. He's in trouble though, cause he ripped up like three different stuffed animals that are mine. Um, but yes, I've been thinking a lot about what I was talking about in terms of creativity, and I have a lot to say, and I really don't know where to start. I think I kind of just oh my god, the screen turned. I look like a little boy recently. I look sickly. I feel like I look sickly. Like my face, like I look like green and like purple. Like I feel like I look sickly. Anyways, so I've been writing in my little journal because I have so many ideas in it, and um, I've been doing so much recently. Oh, let me go off with some of the movies. I haven't watched a lot of movies recently. Um, I think where I left off, I think I said I rewatched Longlegs. I watched Harold and Maude, and that movie was beautiful. I replayed the ending like 10 times and I cried for like 20 minutes because it was just, I kept crying. I really recommend that movie to everyone. One of my older friends recommended it to me because she said she had, like, it mentioned it in a sociology, I think, textbook. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I watched it and I was like, oh, it's so sad. Also, I do want to say, I speak out of my butt cheeks. Like I have no idea what I'm talking about. All of this is just really me asking questions, and I hope no one takes it seriously because it's just all me asking questions. Like I'm not licensed to be talking about any of this. And if anyone thinks that my words are wisdom, um, thank you, but also maybe see a doctor. I don't know. So I did. My idea genuinely starts off with the idea of the last time, which was that how to be creative in a time with no creativity. And I was thinking about that, and I hear dogs barking. And in essence, I was like, well, being creative for me is technically being yourself. Being creative in general for me is being yourself. And I was like, well, what is being yourself? And I was like, I had to pull out my book. Hold on. I pulled out this book. I have this much left of it. It's a super good book. I recommend it to everyone. Um, and in here, there's a section where he says, just 6 million years ago, a single female ape had two daughters. One became the ancestor of all chimpanzees, the other is our grandmother. And I thought that was really interesting because that's crazy. Just think about that. I don't know why I wanted to put that in this video, but it's because I think about it like every day of my life. Like I'm just like, wow, wow. But yes, um, and I think I also really did want to start talking about this because I've been watching a lot of John Waters interviews. I grew up with John Waters Hairspray, both the one that's not his and his version. And I religiously watched that when I was younger. Like that movie like actually raised me. So I'm like a huge John Waters fan. And like I've been going like down this deep dive of all his interviews, and a lot of it was a lot of people asked him, like, well, in his newest interviews, not like in his older ones, a lot of people like have mentioned that like now his films are they're acclaimed because they're amazing, but back then, I mean, people detested his films. They thought they were like too much, but now like they're amazing. So it obviously shows the times have changed, and he's very proud of he God, I can't remember things he said specifically or to the essence, but I think a lot of it he's proud that times have changed, and all he's really wanted to do is just make people vomit. which is beautiful. I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. I think any filmmaker who wants to make someone vomit is amazing. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, it kind of just sucks though, in reality, that we're all so open to this, like to that vomit, to that gore, to that like not even gore, but just like raw rawness, like of divine eating dog shit. Like that's like first you're gonna be like, oh, but then you're just like, yes, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful film. That's a beautiful movie. And I think one of my ideas, I'm really just none of this is like coherent. Honestly, none of these ideas in my notebook are coherent. It's all just me rambling and being like, well, wait a minute. And we're like, what about this? I sound a little crazy. Please don't send me anywhere. Please don't. What is it, 5150 me, please? Please. Um, I wrote down too unified and open. I do think that we as a society are too unified and too open. And also in this book, it does mention that a lot of people think that um like we we are oh my God, we are a species that sort of is always against each other when in reality every day we move closer and closer to being one, like to being closer to one another. Like we are very unified as a society. Like if you think about it, the world, whether you're religious or not, I don't think this kind of clashes with you, but the world just came about when we all decided to create laws, and we all decided that one, like the United States has its own form of currency, and we just all go through that. Like we're all unified in that certain belief. Like the United States is unified itself because it all believes in that currency. Maybe you don't believe in the president, who cares? But you all believe in that currency. And I think that it's the fact that we have all built societies on myths. And so I was like, I'm just rambling, I'm sorry. But, anyways, I do think we're too, like, in that essence, we are unified. And although a lot of people argue the opposite, I do think we are really unified in that aspect. And I think we've become so unified and open, and I think it's because of social media. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I am saying, at least in my opinion, all of these are my opinions genuinely. I always feel terrible for saying my own opinions because then I'm like, well, what if people don't agree with them? I'm trying not to care what people agree, like whether or not people agree with my opinions. I do, if anyone watches this video, like my other video flopped, if anyone watches this video and wants to have like um an intellectual conversation in the comments, I'm down because I love learning new things. Like you can tell me anything and I'll believe it. Like I literally like I'll tell me anything. You guys can yap on there. Yap, please. I literally will read it because I literally have nothing else to do on my phone. I have nothing else. I'm just on my computer all day, like, oh. Anyway, but anyways, that point where I was trying to make a word too unified and open, to me, what I was trying to get at is that we're so open that I think nowadays it's so hard to be out of the box and out of the ordinary. And I watched like the first 4 seconds of this video about how we're too creative, um or how creativity is at an all-time high, and it mentioned how Doja Cat went from this like cyber pop singer, well not really cyber pop, but like she had like cyber elements, to being like the devil. Like, and I think what my idea when I saw that video was that we we're so like we're so open that like now like the devil is like the only thing that people are like, okay, wait a minute, and it's not even all people. Like people are just like, there's some people who are chill, but it's usually the religious people. Then again, not um saying anything about religious people, hello. I'm not that religious, but you know. um anyways, um I do think that like it's gone to the point where you either set yourself at extremes, but even in the extremes are just like, bruh, like grow up. I think people, oh my God, my computer. What I'm trying to say is that to a point, it's really hard for me to communicate my ideas, but to a point, I think social media has seen everything and it's happened so fast. And because of social media, we can see in the past and we can see far in the past, so we can see, we can't really see the future, but we see so far in the past that we want things to move quick. So now that we see things now, we're just like, okay, move on to the next thing. And I think that it's people want things to happen so quickly, and people want things to change. People want to see people who are like extraordinary and out of this world, and I think that extraordinary out of this world lacks that creativity, because you don't have to be extraordinary out of this world to be creative. Like, God, I don't even know if anything I'm saying makes sense, but it's coming from the heart, and if the heart does not make sense, then I am so sorry. But I think it's just people trying to up one another and be super crazy, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, it's not authentic. It's not authentic. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, Weeding out the fake, which is kind of what I was saying. Being not authentic. I think. See, okay, I'm gonna read you this portion that I wrote. It was kind of just a jot down. I said, on being myself, what does that mean? Weeding out the fake, what makes you you? Social media, where we come from, culture, what is the experience of living, and beauty. Now, God, this is a lot to unpack in this like couple sentence. I do think this video is gonna be longer because I wrote, I'm still on the first page. I have a lot of notes to say, but in general, I think what makes us us is that the fact that we are all, we're individuals. Like, we all have our own certain set of beliefs. We all have our own ideas, our own myths. We all look different, and I think that's a lot of people don't embrace that. And I think that goes hand in hand with the beauty aspect of this section, along with the social media aspect. But I'll get in the social media aspect later. I think that people don't um prioritize individualism yet. I think people, it's so odd because social media is very pushed towards being an individual. A lot of people want to be different on social media, but with that, I don't think comes the authentic fact about being individual. Being an individual, because you certainly do fall into a category, and then everyone wants to be you, and it is sort of this chain reaction. Like, who can I say? Alex Earl. Let's bring her up. The last I heard of her, God, I don't know, but I think when she came on social media, people saw this girl who wasn't completely different, but it wasn't someone people have seen before. And so she was different for a certain amount of time. She wasn't like the different that is stereotyp. She wasn't a stereotypical different, but she was different from what social media people saw. She partied. She's low key messy. Like, she was just a girl, a girl. And oh my God, that sounded bad when I said that. No, like, she's just a girl. And then people want to be like her. All her comments, I want to be Alex Earl. I want to be Alex Earl. People on social media, other influencers, like, I want to be Alex Earl. And I think that to that point, they want to say, I think people believe, like, in their heart, truly, they want to be that person because that's them to the true essence, but it's not. It's really, you just want to be that other person because you see that they live lavishly. And I think that's where the social media aspect comes in, is that, like, in general, we see things and we're like, well, that's so me, like, I want to be that. But if you've never seen that, and you really only saw it on social media, you would have never known that that was you. Yes, I guess and I understand that social media is a place where you can discover yourself, but is it really discovering yourself, or is it you just ogling at candy on your screen and aspiring to be that just because it looks cool? I think I think to the truest extent, wanting to be yourself is discovering so many things first and finding where you land, and just just truly being yourself from the start. I don't even think you have to. I don't even know. I don't know. I think being to yourself is such a hard thing to do nowadays, because when you have social media, it is a place that it's just candy in your eyes and candy in your screen. It's bright colors. your mind, like it is really like addicting. And I'm sorry I sound like a 40-year-old, but like social media is addicting, and I'm sorry, that's the truth. And I do think that's really messes up people's brains and their perception of themselves. But then again, I'm gonna ignore the other parts that I wrote down. But I think, what was I getting at? I think social media and the experience of social media is so different to other people. Um, no one is ever going to tell you what social media is, and I don't think they can tell you why it affects you the way it does. Well, they can certainly tell you the why, but I don't think. Ugh, let me just think of the way to word it. I don't know. I think in social media in its truth form is such an it's so individualized but yet so broad. I think everyone has their own experience on social media and their own way they got out of it or their own way they learned from it. But yet it is such a broad way that we learned because it's all there on like this 6-inch screen. Like we all have that information like available towards us, and I think that also is what makes it hard to be creative. And I mentioned that in my last video. I think that we have so much at our fingertips, it's just really hard for us to choose. So we just choose one of the first things we land on. And I think, you know what else is killing us? I didn't write this down in my notes, but this just came to my head. Is those cores. Like, oh my God, cottage core. I don't know. All the other cores, I think grouping yourself into like those cores, I think is so exhausting. I think if you are one of those people, you are so exhausting. I cannot be around you if you decide to group yourself into those cottage cores. I'm cottage core. I'm grandma who lives by the sea core. I'm garbage core. I don't know if you are one of those people who really just truly mm, put yourself into that box. I can't be around you because I just can't hold a conversation with you. I think it is more of an intellectual like thing for me, but I think it's also like who are you? Who are you if you're boxing yourself into something? I don't think we should box ourselves into something at all. Hello, look at my room, bruh. I got freaking Eeyore. I got a cross. I got wine next to the cross. I got Radiohead, Al Pacino, guitar, my graduation cap, a gay dog hat. I got a bunch of Apple stuff. I got freaking a Chloe Sevigny, just a picture of her hanging in my wall because she's an inspiration. And then I have like books. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Like to me, being yourself is just an what's the word? It's just so much into one. It's just you. There's so many different planes that you can cover, and I think that's what makes you one individual person and being yourself. It's just that you like everything that you like, and there's not a reason it doesn't have to look a certain way, you know? But yeah, that is one thing. I think that also goes in hand with that whole like beige mom. I don't know if all of these things are still relevant because I've been on TikTok, but that whole like categorizing yourself to be aesthetic is an ick. I hate that word ick. Why did I say that? Is a turn off. Um, I think people just need to be themselves. I think that's really disgusting. Um, I did want to talk about media censorship, and I want to talk about how to media censorship, in my opinion, is one of the greatest gifts, but also greatest gifts, yet one of the greatest disgraces ever. I think it stopped a lot of artists from being themselves, but I think it also made artists want to do more things, made them want to like just go out there and maybe do it themselves. And I think a lot of people don't do that. I think more people don't. I don't think a lot of people take risks nowadays. I think more people should. Um, it is definitely like something that's been instilled in me to take a risk every once in a while, especially like all the time. You never know what's gonna happen. Look, you really only live once in life. You really only live once. No one can tell you how to live. Everyone's life has been lived on their own. It's all an individual experience. Only you can decide how you live life, and I think you should take risks no matter what it is. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And if the risk doesn't come out in your favor, then you learn from it. Obviously, don't take risks like crazy, something, I don't know. Or maybe you should. Maybe you should. Who knows? Who knows? I can't tell you. Because I'm only 18, bruh. Um, I said beliefs were so common that I think people cared less. And I think I was getting at the fact that, um, I don't know where I was getting at that. Hold on, let me go back to my other page. It's a woo. I'm not sure, but I also really wanted to talk about how censorship is a wake of creativity. Beliefs were so common that I think people cared less. Hmm. I don't know what I was getting at. Maybe you can interpret that on your own. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. So to edit the video, what the hell? Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to cut that out. I said a really bad word. Um, on to my next point. I was thinking that people were too open now, which limited creativity, but I really think it is social media. We see, we copy, we assimilate. I literally said that like 400 times. I said that in my last video. I just keep repeating it because I think it's true. I do think that we assimilate to social media. I don't think I'm saying that word correctly. Assimilate. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Correct me. Literally in the comments, correct me. Give your own opinions, like I'm saying. I just repeat myself on and on and on again. I'm repeating myself for 22 minutes, 22 seconds now. Um, I was thinking that people were too open now. I already said that. Either bullying is too severe or it isn't enough. Okay, this is maybe a little controversial. I don't care. Either bullying is too severe. So I do think that bullying, either, this is my two beliefs about social media because then again, I think social media is I write it down here. It's second order chaos. I think social media is second order chaos to the point where I can't really boil it down to one solution. I think it has to have two branches. Just like many points in history, I think there's many ideas and you can't really explain it, but you just know what's happening. And like I believe that we assimilate to the life that we see on social media, I think it either is because of two things. Either bullying is so severe on social media that we are forced to assimilate to what we see um, because we feel the pressures of society, or two, it's not severe enough and people aren't bullied enough to be themselves, so they just all become one person. You know, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Today, I also watched a documentary. Well, it was a short documentary called Dirty Girls by Michael Lucid. It's really good. I think everyone should watch it. It's on YouTube, and I think I then started talking about. I don't know. I was really just going off and on. The girl said, "I don't open my legs like other girls," is based on harmful gender stereotypes. Okay, well, yeah, she did this, and it did kind of make me mad. But she's also like 13, so well, I think she was 13 because it was the older sister of the 13-year-old. I don't know. But she did say that she didn't open her legs like other girls, which is why she was a dirty girl. If you watch the video, you know what a dirty girl is. I really don't want to explain it because, hell, I really kind of didn't understand their beliefs, but I understand where they're coming from. I did think they were ahead of their time. Um, and I think that brought me back to this book again. It's upside down. This book again, because in this book, it talks about how I think I bookmarked it. Hold on. Right here. I did bookmark it. I write down notes every chapter of this book because it's so good. It says cognitive dissonance had only Had any people been unable to hold contradicting beliefs and values, it would probably have been impossible to establish and maintain any human culture. So that this whole thing brought me down because the point of Dirty Girls was kind of this feminist movement, and they were riot girls. But yet she does say she I don't open my legs like other girls. Harmful stereotype. I mean, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. I am a little bit, but I'm not here to judge fully. She's 13, okay? And um, I do think that as a society we do rely on these like we rely on like both ends of the track, and we put ourselves there. Like we believe in this, but although we say this, we still believe in this, and that is what makes us us. Oh my god, this is gonna be a really long video. Um, I thought that was really interesting because then I just thought back to social media. It was all a whole thing in my mind. I don't know, it does not make sense when I say that out loud, but in my head I was like, I was uncovering the secrets of the universe. And then I said, bigger question is, what is the role of social media to outcasts and others? Does it give them a safe space to communicate it to the point where they don't take their influence to art? Oh, okay, here was the real question I had. So, in my opinion, I was thinking about the role of social media to outcasts. I'm basically just repeating what I said and explaining it. I would not get a good grade on the AP exam if I did this. Um, and I was really wondering if social media was able to give them a safe space to communicate with one another, with other outcasts. That sounds really bad when I say it, but I don't mean it in a terrible way. To the point where they didn't take it too too literal outside of their phone. And that sounds crazy. I sound like I'm telling them to touch grass, but I do think because for me, I'm really fascinated in the idea of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, and maybe it's more of a picturesque, glamorous, romanticized version of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, even 90s. I'm talking about that whole like movement where you have those outcasts and they're so bright and they became some of the greatest artists and all of that, and their work is so channeled well that I do like really love that whole movement and those ideas that I really do wonder where are we lacking that now in this day and age, and for me, oh my god, I'm really fucking talking shit, like I'm sorry, but for me it's more so like where is that now? And if that is being channeled into social media, are people not taking it outside? Are people only posting it on social media? And even then, it doesn't even get that. If it doesn't get that much traction, I mean, where is it really going? It's really just a deep amalgamation. I don't think that's how you say the word amalgamation. I don't know. Then again, correct me if I'm wrong. But I do think social media is just that concentrated outcast group. There's certain hubs of outcasts that just go there and they don't go outside. And I think there's something John Waters says. He says we need more perverts, or he said it's okay to be a pervert. And I don't think he means it in the literal sense, like being a pervert, or maybe he does. Who knows? But I think it is okay to be weird and to be an outcast. And a lot of people don't take it outside. They really just kind of just concentrate it onto social media, which is I think another terrible thing about social media. I think it doesn't let people do things outside and kind of like take things into reality. Um, I said John Waters is an outcast, but I do. Oh, because I was going to reference John Waters when I did say this. I don't think he's an outcast. I'm not comparing him to Outcast, but what he did was he created films to discuss people, not rebel, but to be outside of the norm. And I'm just saying, like, I don't think that there is people who do that. Like, there are films, but and I think to the most part, maybe it is also the second viewpoint of it is happening. It's just not right in front of your face, like these people were, and eventually over time you become that great artist. So I really don't have much to say on that. Um, Creativity on social media is trying to outdo the next person. I said that a little bit with the Doja Cat thing. Um, I mean, Doja Cat really just did what Lil Nas X did. If you really think about it, he went the whole like, you know. And it is trying to outdo the next person. She's been doing it far longer than he did it for. He did it like for a small period of his career, just as like a whole thing for his music. She is doing it because she's like wants to one up and be like. I'm not trying to say she's an attention seeker, but that really is what fame is in the essence of it. I say essence a lot because it's very um annoying. So I'm sorry, but it is really what she's trying to do. She's really trying to do it for the attention. And she's getting the attention that she wants. I mean, there's headlines, there's like satanic ritual Doja Cat does at concert. Like, she's getting definitely what she wanted. And I think it's, there's no more creativity. It's just a performance. It's just a performance that is trying to get attention. It's a monetary performance. There you go. It's a monetary performance, not one for the creativity. Um, okay, let's see if this makes any sense. Conservatives. Creativity might strike. I'm saying, okay, creativity might happen in the future because conservatives are at an all-time high, and for more conservative than ever, their ideas, time can't tell, history is second order chaos. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's this um scale. I don't know if it's true. I've just seen it. I didn't care to fact check it. It basically shows how liberals have gone more right and conservatives have gone way more right. Like our ideas have not shifted like liberals left and like conservatives say the same, where like both go left. They've just both gone right. And for me, I think that was because I mean nowadays you really if you look at the political the way people align politically in the United States, I think since the election of 2016, I do think that because of Trump, I think Republicans, and this is no harm to anyone who aligns with anything politically, um, I do think that conservatives, not Republicans, I'm sorry, I did not mean to say Republicans. I do think that conservatives have they've upped their notch a little bit, and I think there is that fight between the liberals and the conservatives. And I do think, to an essence, I think that's perfect. I think it is perfect. Everyone might hate me for saying that, but I do think it's perfect. I think for, I think in all sorts of cases, it's perfect. I think I don't think we should get along as a society, and I hate to say that, but I don't think we should get along. I'm not saying that. Look, okay, whether you believe it or not, I don't think equality. What does it say? I don't think equality is ever going to happen. I don't think it's a very hard thing for it to happen. I mean, as a society, um, many of us will say that discrimination has ended, but it's just a new form. I think now we have economic discrimination, and it's terrible. I think if you look at it, it's really bad, and we'll never truly be equal. I mean, like no one will ever truly be equal. We won't. I don't know what, but we won't ever be. And I think that constant battle is, I think that's what life is. I think that's what life is, that constant battle between the good and the bad. And I I think that's just what we need. I think that's what we need because we need things to contradict. And it said it in the book. It said it so perfectly here. In order for a society to work, we need things to contradict because without oh my God, I'm burping so much. Without the contradiction, where would our beliefs lie? And I think I read a chapter today about religion, and it talked about how um, Christians, though they're very first of all, it talked that religious chapter was really really interesting. Um, I wonder if I took any notes on it. I'm so sorry. This video is gonna be super long, but oof. Um, it said that it's kind of like that religion is in a whole is a contradictory statement because believing in God and the devil is two opposite ends of a stick. because you're believing in such divine power that God created everyone. And then again, I'm not bashing religion. I'm a religious person. That God created everyone equally, and that God sees all in His eyes, and that everyone is made in God's eyes. But then you have when people make the argument, okay, well, God made everyone in His eyes. What about evil? Did He make evil? Well, you say yes, He made evil for other people. Then you say, then why would God make them evil if He wants everyone to be in His vision? It is really kind of a debate that no one can explain. So that's why they made the devil. I mean, that's why you have hell. But how can you have two combating forces but be a monotheistic religion? It's not a monotheistic, it's a dual religion. It's a dualistic religion. I don't know if I got that right. Then again, correct me if I'm wrong. But the things on the line, and I think we do need those contradictory statements of liberals and conservatives. And I think it's not going to be a battle that anyone will win. You're not going to change anyone's mind. I'm sorry, but it is really that contradictory statement that you really need for us to live and to create and to just keep going and keep fighting for what we love. And then yeah, I really said conflicting ideas like good, like God and the devil are the reason for order. I do think that that is why we have order. I know a lot of people like don't like to say that, and people don't like to say that bad things are the reason for order, but it's true. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. I think you're never gonna have a beautiful society, and that's just that. Like, I'm sorry, no matter what you want, you're not gonna have a beautiful society, and things just don't work out like that way, like that. And if they do in the beginning, it's not gonna end that way. Um, Nothing is original to that essence. That is true. I watched a video um about films and like how I mean I think everyone knows that how like many directors take from certain films because they're like, wow, I love that, I want to do that in this film. And it's really just nothing is original. But I I think I think that's also the beauty of it. I really don't have much to say there. I think the statement in and of itself says a lot. Now I'm gonna read the last statement that I wrote. I'm already at almost 40 minutes. I'm so sorry. I have to do cut out the other part. So we all have to be ourselves to the truest form. To avoid all of this, there is no meaning to it all. We know nothing, the how and not the why. Um, I mean, yeah, we just don't have to be ourselves to the truest form. I mentioned this earlier. Um, there really is no meaning to it all. Um, then again, people have opposing views, and I understand that. I mean, everyone has their own set of views, but then again, I think that explains my argument even more. It's it's really there's so much, and we all see things differently, that there's no meaning. Like, if that makes sense. Um, this video was more in depth to my first video that flopped. Oh, it flopped so bad! Oh my god! But yes, maybe I did not get my views across. Maybe they're still terrible. I really don't care. I just wanted to speak. Then again, in 2 years, I'll probably have a different opinion. My opinions are always changing. I'm always trying to learn something new. So then again, if you have a different opinion, say something in the comments, because I literally will listen. I love listening to people talk. So say something. Really say something. But yes, this is just. Also, I do want to make a reference back to my first video where I was talking about um um how I felt I didn't feel confident to a certain aspect of my critiques and film watching. And I was watching a video today where I cannot remember his name. I apologize. I'm kind of bad with names. I really need to look at them. The director of The Worst Person in the World, he really found the fighting sequence of Transformers 2 really beautiful, and how he just he might not be able to have an intellectual conversation about a film, but when you recognize beauty, that you can't fail to recognize beauty. And he did see something very beautiful in it. And I think that's what I think about most some movies too. I do think that, like, even if it's bad, there is some sort of beauty that bad. It's either a good bad or it's a bad bad, and it's something you learn. You're gonna take away something from every film, and that's all I wanted to share. I did clip it. I'm not gonna put it in this video. Um, I just clipped it from my own just to keep it. But yes, that is all I have to say. I did speak a lot, and I'm gonna have to cut out the other part. Um, but yes, you won't know what I said because I cut it out, but I am gonna keep referencing it. So that's all I have to say. Please comment. Hopefully this video does not flop as hard as the other one. And hopefully it doesn't flop as bad as the other one. And I have intellectual conversations. I love talking to intellectual people. So please, I want to have intellectual conversations with everyone. So if you're an intellectual person or you're just a person, comment because I do love to talk. And I like to learn new things. And I only make these videos because no one else wants to listen to me yap. So I just put it out here and whoever wants to can. So thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful night. It's 12:05. Good night.